Hello all, this is Barbara Mann from Your Empowered You, and welcome to our video on how to be an effective employee change agent. So what's an employee change agent, or what's a change agent in general? So it's anybody who promotes or enables change to happen within any group or organization. So obviously change agents are important to a team, a department, an organization, any area of life. Change agents are important. We're going to talk about why they're important. We're also going to talk about ineffective change agents and what that kind of looks like, followed by effective change agents. And some of these things are very similar when you're ineffective and effective change agents. We're going to talk about that. And then finally, impact on your career of being an effective change agent. It really can open amazing, amazing doors. So why are change agents important to an organization? Because really, the business world is always changing. Everything is always changing. Therefore, you have to have a workplace. You have to have processes, things that are always able to change to survive. If you don't change, as you know, you're going to lose employees, you're going to lose customers, you're going to lose revenue, and you're going to lose the business. So it's important that we all recognize that everything always is changing. It's healthy to change. So the change agents are usually the people, they're seeing a better tomorrow. They're seeing that future. They're seeing better processes. They're seeing better workplace culture. They're seeing how to improve customer service. They're seeing these things that make a better tomorrow. So it's important to have those people in an organization to really help the organization move forward. You can't remain stagnant, because if you remain stagnant, as we all know, especially nowadays when things move so quickly, you have to keep moving forward. So let's talk a little bit about an ineffective change agent. This is how some of the traits that I've seen in my career, what an ineffective change agent looks like. So these are the type of people who they really desire something to change. They really, they want something to change, they're feeling it, but they have a tendency to not have a plan for the change. Or if they present, say, an initial plan, it may not consider all the impacts that it has to all the departments. And it may be somewhat unrealistic that isn't going to work in the model. So instead of kind of going back and revising maybe the plan and based on feedback, sometimes these people become upset. They tend to complain. They say that they're not being listened to, and they just don't change on this initial plan based on feedback, and they just kind of throw their hands up. One thing about change agents is you will get feedback on initial plans, especially if you're new to being sort of a change agent and implementing change. If it's your first go around, you're going to get a ton of feedback, and you're going to start learning about how you go back to the drawing board, what you need, which is a good segue on how to be an effective change agent. So here's how someone who's new to being a change agent. The desire is for something to change. Maybe on their first time out, they don't have a very good plan. The initial plan is not very forward. They don't consider all the impacts. It may be unrealistic. The same exact thing for an ineffective change agent. But here's where it changes. The effective change agent realizes, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board, or I need to listen to the feedback, and this is where they decide to kind of go inside themselves and figure out what they need to do. So maybe they reach out to their manager for guidance on presenting change. It really is a matter of how you're presenting it to, say, either your manager, senior management, on how you're presenting the change. You're thinking about the other impacts to teams. You're thinking about the collateral sources that are needed to implement the change. Maybe there's potential HR involvement that needs to be involved. So really, if you have someone who can help guide you through all the things that maybe you haven't thought about, it really helps. Someone who's a coach or a mentor who's good at change management. They also start understanding there's a need to collaborate. Maybe you need other people involved to implement this plan or to have it be effective. They start understanding how you present to management, because there is a way to present to management. There's certain things that managers like to hear. They like to see, okay, here's what the changes, here's what the impacts are going to be, here's my role, here's other people's role. So they have like this good streamline so you can follow it through. And they understand there's going to be probably more feedback and more possible revisions. There may be people saying, I don't think that's a good idea. So sometimes, even when you present things, go back to the drawing board, you re-present it, it may still not be implemented. But here's where a good change agent, here's some of the traits that they have. They're still confident. They have still the courage to go ahead and maybe see something else. And every plan, every change that I wanted to implement, it wasn't always implemented. But it doesn't deter you from seeing something else where you can have an impact. Usually people who are effective change agents are very level-headed. They're very passionate because they see things that they can make a difference. They're very driven. So, the thing is that they have a lot of times thick skin. You get the feedback. So if you don't have kind of that thick skin and be able to listen to really what people are telling you, just kind of in a neutral, non-emotional zone, it's going to be tough to be a change agent. You got to have kind of a thick skin and be a very good listener on that feedback, because they're the management who's telling you what you need to do. That's what I had to do as well. There's a lot of things that I wanted to change. I loved implementing change, but there were some things that when I would go higher up, to say VPs or directors or the chief claims officers, things of that nature, I would get feedback. You have to go back and revise it, it's no big deal. Sometimes it'd be like, no, that's not a good idea. Okay, you just find something else. And you will, if you have that sort of real desire for change and understand what you need to do and the impacts that are involved with change, you will make a difference, I guarantee it. So what are some of the impacts that a good change agent has? Some of the impacts are you have a better process. Well, that helps your coworkers, that helps the team, that helps the office, that helps the department. You have a better workplace environment. So these are all creating positive impacts, not just for yourself, but for your team. Usually change agents aren't thinking about themselves, they're thinking about the team. They're thinking about, say, the internal customer, the external customer. They're really trying to make it a better tomorrow. Other impacts for the person who's a change agent really builds confidence and empowerment. Like, you can make decisions, you just have to make sure you have other people involved and they know what you're doing and you understand the impact. The perception of the perception of the change agent from others is that you're a potential leader. You're a good leader. If you're able to implement change, you've got a good leadership skill going on. And that a lot of times evolves, if you want it, into future type of leadership roles. Some people don't ever want to be a leader, and that's fine. I mean, it's great to have informal leaders. You have to have informal leaders on the floor, and they are very important to an operation. So some people may not even want a formal leadership role, but if you do, it really helps to open those sorts of doors if you're an effective change agent. You grow and you understand the impact and the collateral sources that you're needed, the collaboration. It builds a lot of skills that maybe you don't even know you're building. So let's go ahead and wrap this up in a bow. So change is a given, and we're always going to need change agents. Change is healthy, and change agents are necessary to help us move out of our comfort zones and that status quo, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in our culture in today's society. We see it all the time that you have these change agents that are pushing us forward out of our comfort zones, and it's healthy. We talked about ineffective and effective change agents. They start kind of at the same place. They want this change. Maybe they have a plan that isn't necessarily going to work, but the difference is that an effective change agent reacts differently to that feedback. They go and make the changes. An ineffective person, they just complain and say people aren't listening. And in fact, they are listening and just giving them feedback. What are some of the impacts? It helps the team, it helps the department, it helps the organization. The change agents are helping large groups of people. The perception of the change agent is that they're an effective leader. They can make change. They can be a change management expert, actually, or someone who is involved with, say, project management because they understand what's needed. But the perception is they are an effective change agent and potential leader. And whether somebody wants to go into a future leadership role, they're a highly desirable employee to have in any type of team, department, or organization. So if you start developing a reputation as a effective change agent and people are seeing you make these changes and maybe you made another one, and they don't have to be huge where it's affecting entire organization. It could be smaller ones. You will be noticed. They're guaranteed by other leaders in the organization. So I hope you've enjoyed our video on how to be an effective change agent. And for additional resources or to schedule a session with me, please visit my website at www.yourimpoweredyou.com. Email me at bman@yourimpoweredyou.com or call me at 916-633-2555. And I thank you very much and have a very empowered day.